We think of it as you love something and then it links up to travel, and there's that aspect of even contributing towards world peace using what we are selling here. I know it might sound far-fetched, but I
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 26 of Sugidama Podcast, the podcast about Japanese sake, the drink which is slowly but steadily making its way into the UK retail shops. Now you can find it not only in traditional Japanese grocery stores, but also in traditional wine shops, large supermarkets and, of course, online. But still, only a few brick-and-mortar places in London have a decent selection of sake, which made it so exciting for me to find out about a new Japanese grocery shop with an amazing selection of sake, HIS Japan Premium. I was so excited by the news that did an interview with HIS management here in the UK. But before I tell you more about the circumstances of the interview and play it, let me tell you about our sponsor, London Sake, who have one of the widest selections of premium and craft sake available online today. You can choose from over 100 sake from 25 breweries, and they will deliver across the UK and many European markets. And if you don't know what sake to choose, you can use simple online tasting notes together with very sensible and affordable food pairings to help you decide. What's more, you can get a 10% discount by just using the code SUGIDAMA, all caps, during checkout. London Sake, making sake simple. My name is Alex, and I live in London. I am a certified sake specialist, sake judge, sake educator, and sake advocate. Besides this podcast, I have Sugidama blog on www.sugidama.co.uk, where I write about all things sake, publish tasting notes, overviews, and information about sake events happening in London. So today I present you an exciting interview with John Opondo, who is Managing Director of HIS Europe, and Masahiro Tsuji, HIS Business Development Manager. Just a few words about how this episode came into the existence. HIS Japan Premium Food store opened in London only a few months ago. It was very exciting news and I rushed straight away to visit them. I was so impressed by their sake selection, curated by Natsuki Kikuya, who was a guest on this podcast in season 1 and is very well known as a sake expert, educator, sake sommelier, and just an amazing and interesting person, that I decided to write a short article for my blog about the shop. As it happened, I met John and Masahiro at the store back in November last year and interviewed them for the article and recorded the interview on my phone. Initially, I didn't plan to use the recording for the podcast. First of all, we were supposed to have a very short conversation. The audio quality on the phone is not great anyway, but because we are talking surrounded by fridges full of sake, the truck also had this annoying humming background noise. However, the whole conversation was very good. John is an amazing and charismatic person, so I felt like I'm wasting very good material. So I tried to improve the quality, and with some great help from nice people from the Audacity online forum, I managed to turn it into something listenable, I hope. I want to make a disclosure that it's not in any way paid interview or initiated by HIS. I did it completely on my own accord. However, after that, I was contacted by the store manager, Yuko, and we are now planning some events at their store. And the first one, NOMIKAI, the sake experience, is scheduled for March 31st. The event will take place at HIS Japan Premium store in London on Shaftesbury Avenue, where I'm going to talk about, of course, sake, the myths that surround it, how it's made, and we'll try to answer any questions about the drink. The event includes a tasting of 4 premium sake, a souvenir, and a 10% discount at the shop for selected sake on the day of the event. So if you live not far away and would like to come and say hello, or you have friends who never tried sake before, the link to the event is in the show notes. There is a fee to attend, but I think it's reasonable. So after that full disclosure, let's listen to my conversation with John and Masahiro about how a travel company happened to open a Japanese sake and grocery store in central London.
Please welcome our guest.
Can you tell me about the HIS is a company and why HIS decided to open a store in London?
Yes, HIS has been in existence in the UK since the year 2000, and we are well known for travel. So HIS as a company in Japan is one of the biggest companies, as many of us might know, with the largest volume, if not top 3 in terms of volume from Japan going out.
Okay.
I hope I have this right, but when it was still travel, we had about 3.5, maybe 4 million guests from Japan going out to different parts of the world. Now, of course, I'd be honest to say that we never thought of this. We never have thought of this if it wasn't for the pandemic that is facing us right now. When we actually leased this place in February of last year. I signed the lease on the 26th before the curtains came with Corona. And we were hoping that travel would be back. We scratched our heads. It took quite a bit of time. And then we decided, why not do something that is not too much out of our mainstream work, marry the two, and that's where the brand, or the co-brand, Food and Travel, came up. This is something that had been started already by our subsidiary or sister company in Germany. We had a branch in Berlin, and they converted the branch to a retail store that was selling specialized Japanese products, and we decided to do the same thing across Europe. So we started with Berlin, and then Frankfurt, and then Madrid, and then now London. In the next few days, we should be open in Munich, and we are also going to do Rome, and it's basically the same concept, Japan Food and Travel. So we are a travel company that is trying to diversify, move up the scale and vertically integrate to a certain extent to be suppliers of food. Now that people can't travel to Japan freely, we want to introduce, we're bringing Japan to the people. They will enjoy and sample what Japan has to offer, and we strongly believe that in the near future, when the skies are open and the borders are open, then they will have a special place in their hearts for Japan, given the fact that they have sampled what Japan has to offer. And they will travel to the places that we are buying our products from. So we hope to support the producers of the products in Japan, and hopefully just support travel to Japan, not just the food bit, but marry the two, food and travel. Yes.
So, at the moment, I guess most of your, let's say, revenues come from probably this kind of business rather than travel.
I would say yes and no, because with revenue, we're just talking about sales. And, the travel products and the merchandise that we are selling here, the selling price of the two is quite different. For the past maybe 1 year or so, I would say you're right, because there was absolutely no water coming out of the tap. But recently we've started seeing a little bit of a comeback, especially in the corporate business travel, where Japanese companies who we specialize on taking care of here in the UK have started traveling around Europe. And we are also seeing some level of movement back to Japan. So I would say a year back till now, there was almost zero on the travel bit, and we just recently opened this one. So I can say that the scale was tipping towards the retail side, but now that business is coming back, then we are looking at the scale tipping over to the other bit. But we are trying to see if we can have another pillar in our business, especially now that things were quite difficult for us. We are hoping that when travel comes back, then we would not just have the travel pillar, but we would also have the retail bit of it as a pillar to the business.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's understandable because obviously now things will speed up in terms of travel, and probably your revenues from travel will be bigger because you're a travel company as a core. But and with the products that you sell, do you import them directly from Japan? Do you have like Japanese suppliers, or you use local importers to get the products?
It is actually a mix of the two. I would say that some of the products that we have in store are locally procured from the wholesale suppliers who have been in the market for a while. But what separates us from the rest is that we also have quite a good range of products that come directly from Japan, imported by us.
I see.
And some of these products you will find with no one else in the whole of UK. I can proudly say that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as a business, you have to have an edge. We're not just into going into the industry to do the exact same thing as the guy next door or the guy on the other street is doing. We are trying to ensure that we provide top-notch products, Japanese products to the UK, and there are brands like Honba no Honmono, which is like an accreditation to special producers who actually use some very high-quality ingredients or products, and use very good traditional ways of producing products. We actually get some of our products from those producers. And it's interesting to say that some of these products, you cannot even easily find them in Japan.
Oh, really?
So you can find something in the UK, but if you look for it in Japan, you won't find it. And we have particular shelves that have these specialized products, and we go on to even have video clips running all through, showing the consumer where the product is from and how the product is made and what's so special about it. Of course, they are a little bit pricey in comparison to the normal products, but of course, quality comes with price. And if you know good quality, then you would not really mind to dig deeper into your pocket and pay a little bit extra to just get what real Japan is for you.
What kind of concept you've got in terms of what kind of products you sell? Because I can see you've got sake here, you've got groceries there, and the top
mezzanine floor,
mezzanine is a tea.
Yes. We thought it wise to segment the floors and have them in such a way that it would be easy for a consumer to find what they're looking for. And it's always good to have a proper concept in the areas that you have in a shop. It's not a huge shop, as you've seen, but one of our customers the other day, I would say about 2 or 3 times, I've been told the same comment, which I'm very proud of. Someone said that they've never seen such a clean shop in the UK. Of course, I stand to be corrected, because when you start a shop, then it remains clean for a while, and then you start getting a little bit messy. We are hoping that we won't get messy at all. Now, coming to what you've just asked, we boast a very huge range of Japanese liquor, specifically the Japanese sake and also the shochu and the likes. I'm sure you're far much more conversant about this topic than I am, so I won't go too deep, because I'm sure I might get some questions that I might not be able to answer. You're professional in this, but I think we're also good at it. Now, we have loads of sake. We are looking at, if I'm not wrong, about 120 different types of sake. I would say, and of course, again, I stand to be corrected, maybe we are probably the ones who have the largest variety in the UK currently. But we are hoping to increase even more, because this is something that changes. Now I might be number one in terms of variety, but a month down the line it might be different. So it's not just about variety, but it's about how you present it, because there is a certain temperature that sake needs to constantly be in. And I do understand that there are some places that you will go and find sake inside, of course, a fridge, and you'll buy it, yes. But what you don't realize is that while it's in the store, it's not in the fridge.
No.
It only gets to the fridge when it gets in front of the client. And the taste is not exactly what it should be. And we are trying to deliver perfect taste to the client, and that's why all our sake, if it's supposed to be at a certain temperature, then it will remain at that certain temperature from the time it is delivered or from the time it is produced all through until it gets to your hand. You carry it back home so that you can enjoy the authentic taste of the thing. So we are pushing sake as our main sales point. And then we also have how many types of tea do we have right now? And I'm sure you had 50. We're looking at about 50 different types of teas. Some of them we have imported directly on our own from Japan. Some of them, of course, we've gotten from suppliers. Lots of organic kind of teas that are very good for the health. And we are surprised to see quite a number of non-Japanese customers coming in. I think we're looking at about maybe 75 or 80% of non-Japanese customers coming in, and of course the Japanese customers. So I feel that we are headed towards our target, which is introducing Japan and Japanese cuisine and Japanese drinks and everything else to our clients or who are non-Japanese here in the UK.
This gives very, very diverse range of sake compared to some other shops. The only thing that probably have bigger range, it might be only online. But online, it's online. You have to order, you have to pay for delivery, you have to wait. Here you can come and definitely just buy sake and have it in the evening. And I think your staff is very knowledgeable about sake. So I'm quite impressed by presentation of sake, which you don't see very often outside Japan. Even in Japan, you go to sake shop in Japan, and if you have no idea about sake, you're just lost.
I hope you're seeing the smile on my face as you go on talking about what you've just mentioned. No, we are new in this, of course, but we have learned in a very short time, and every day is a learning day. It's good you've noticed that our staff are knowledgeable, but of course we are not content with the knowledge that we have right now. We still continue getting support from the likes of very well able Miss Kikuya, continue learning, of course do tastings with the staff also, and have our clients taste what we have in here. As we continue to better the service that we have, we are offering to our clients. And the quest still continues. At the end of the day, it's not just about doing a business. Our passion is to deliver what the producers in Japan are really enthusiastic about doing. Deliver what the producers in Japan have spent years and years and years of experience to come to the level where they can produce top-notch products that can actually compete anywhere in the world in terms of drink. We know that in Japan there is the issue of the aging population, of course, and I know you and I both know that the volume of sake being sold in Japan is getting lower and lower because the drinkers are reducing. But the thing is, the product in itself is really, really nice. Not all the products, of course, a selection, quite a wide range of selection of Japanese sakes are really, really nice. And we would not want that culture to die out because there is no demand completely. Japan has been, given the fact that it is an island in itself, Japan has concentrated a lot over very many years in selling the very good sake products to Japan alone. But I think it's high time that these lovely products are actually tasted and tried outside Japan. So the market is huge outside Japan. It's just that It doesn't take a day or two. It takes yourself and the efforts that you've been putting. It takes us who have just come into the market. It takes our competitors who double up as partners at the end of the day, because you cannot create a market on your own. You have to work together, and there has to be a way for people to actually appreciate some of these products. I'm hoping that in future, sake will not just be found in specialized places like ours, but you would also find it easily available in the supermarkets, for example, which has started slowly, but we are hoping that with time this product will be appreciated by so many people out there. And you also mentioned online sales. We had to start from somewhere. You start with the physical store first before you go online. And watch this space. We are coming online in the next few months, hopefully a month or two, if all goes well. Of course, with projects, there are these nitty-gritties that sometimes pull the projects back. But definitely we will be up and running online soon, and we'll be able to deliver to many people's households.
Because obviously if you live outside London, you don't have many opportunities to buy sake, unfortunately.
Exactly. We would love to have a store in Manchester, have a store in Liverpool, have a store in all these different, because it's not just about it is enough. It's not enough to sell something online. We want people to breathe Japan, but how do you breathe Japan when you're just looking at the screen?
Exactly.
If you look at our shop when you come in, you'll realize that there's that Japanese feel. There's Japanese music playing in the background. Someone will say "Irashaimase," and you feel like you're somewhere in Shibuya or in Shinjuku. And you look at the surrounding inside the store, and you'll see the lanterns in there. You'll see a map of Japan. You will see different things that actually make you feel like you're in Japan. When I was coming in today, some 3 ladies, very young, went out saying, "I'll definitely come back to this shop again." And those are the kind of things that you cannot experience when you're just looking at a screen. So with us, I know as much as we cannot have all these outlets all over, I feel that it is important for us to have this flagship store and maybe 1 or 2 others in future, because these can also double up as test marketing kind of places. It's a place that brings the people together. We want to create some buzz for Japan. We want to create an environment where, even though you might not be able to afford us now to travel all the way to Japan, you can actually visit us once in a week and feel like you're in Japan. So that's the kind of thing that we are looking at. So online we are coming, as far as the retail is concerned, we started with London and all over in different places in Europe. But we're hoping that we will move out of London and do other places also in future.
Because definitely there is a demand for sake. Like, I know that Manchester is one of places where there is a demand, because they've got distributors there, and I know a few people from Manchester who even wrote on my blog about sake there, and I'm sure that other big cities like Liverpool and Birmingham obviously got a lot of potential.
Most definitely. It's just a matter of timing, and also just keeping your ears on the ground and your eyes open and thinking about the consumer and what they are missing. You just need to try and be proactive, to work extra hard to try and see if you can get them what they're missing, and I'm sure they'll love it, and will increase funds to Japan and funds for Japan. At the end of the day, we still remain as a travel company, and of course with us, we think of it as you love something, and then it links up to travel, and there's that aspect of even contributing towards world peace using what we are selling here. I know it might sound far-fetched, but I when I was teaching in Japan a long time back, I used to tell students that one day when I go back to my country, if something were to happen in my country, you would say, "What happened to John? Is he okay?" Exactly. And that kind of link between you and John actually makes you curious about the country. The same thing with the UK and Japan. If there was an earthquake in Japan and you realize that there's a sake that you bought at Japan Food and Travel London that is from Niigata, and the earthquake actually occurred in Niigata, you be curious, how is the sake brewery that this sake came from? Is everyone okay? So that's the kind of thing that links hearts together, and of course it contributes to world peace, because the people we are selling the sake to, maybe someone might be a minister in the UK sometime in future, and they would help promote some of these things. So as much as it might sound far-fetched, I think it is very relevant to what we are doing. Travel and food will never be separated, and I think the fact that we cannot move so much right now, and we've moved towards now selling the food bit, I think is a brilliant thing to do, in my opinion. And of course, we'll keep the things merged together.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. I really sort of feel like saying the same about all this cultural thing and food, because food and drinks, it's probably the best way to try to understand the country. You see what people eat, try it, what people drink, try it, and then you develop this interest, and probably then you look at the cultural aspect, about literature, and about nature, and it's really sort of very good, like ambassadors for the country.
True. Food will always remain to be the door to any culture. You cannot talk about culture without talking about food. You can't talk about culture without talking about drink. And of course, with culture there is interest, and with interest there comes curiosity and travel. So I think it's all linked, and we are hoping to use this as a seamless way of not making money, but introducing Japan, of course, to the world, not just here in the UK, but the whole of Europe. And with that, if you're doing the right thing, then all the rest falls in place, because at the end of the day, we have to pay salaries, we have to pay rents and everything else. But if your mind is all about making money, then I think you will get it wrong. You probably might have realized that we are very affordable in comparison to many of our partners or competitors out there. So we sell good products for subsidized rates. I say we sell black forest cakes for the price of bread, if I can put it that way.
Okay, before we listen to John's and Masahiro's background, the store's customers, and the opportunities and challenges faced by HIS, let me remind you about London Sake, our sponsor. If your nearest retail outlet stocking sake is many miles away, your best bet is an online sake store like them. Have a look, but don't forget about the magic word Sugidama, all caps, to get your 10% discount. Could you tell me about your background? So how you end up managing this business? Both of you. I'm just quite interested how people work out.
Mr. Tsuji here, and I'll call him Tsuji, not Mr. Tsuji. He's kind of like the brains behind this project. He's quiet here, but he's been doing all the running around. I do almost nothing. But he's the project manager. He started the thing from scratch, of course, with the help of our team in Germany. And he's brought it from what was almost zero to what it is right now. And he has a background, of course, in Japan, and maybe he can explain a little bit. Even if it's in Japanese, it's okay, I will help you translate.
My background is in Japan. When I work in HIS, I'm handling the group travel in Japan. And 2 years ago, I came here. And my project was establish new branch in Croatia. But pandemic is so I changed my task. And apartment business. I'm running apartment business in Croatia. 24 units in Croatia now. And also this shop is my task. One of my tasks.
He's being very modest with his explanation, I must say. He's one of the youngest guys in HIS who's really gone up the corporate scale. And I will not be surprised if you will be my boss in the next few years. Myself, I was born and raised in Kenya.
Okay.
I'm a Kenyan national. Ended up in Japan because I started studying Japanese right after high school, as there was this Japanese individual who joined our high school, which was called the Duke of York High School in Kenya.
Oh, wow.
And when the guy joined, I was curious and I ended up studying the language. And I ended up in Japan for a while. I worked for the prefectural government, Mie prefectural government on the JET program. And then I wanted to try out the private sector, and I ended up in HIS because I used to be a tour guide back in Kenya a long time back. So the interest in travel was still there. And I worked in Japan for about 4.5 years. And the reason why I joined HIS was because I wanted to start new projects for the company in Africa. And of course, true to my dream, I ended up in Kenya and I started a business for HIS in Kenya. And then I also started a business for HIS in South Africa. And I still am a director of both companies. And I did something in Ethiopia, in Zimbabwe, in Madagascar, in Rwanda, in many different places. And then ended up in the UK. They call them salarymen. When you're told to move right, you have to move right very fast. So the big bosses pointed to Europe, and I found myself in Europe. And I've been in the UK, heading the business here in the UK as the managing director of HIS Europe Limited for just about 5 years now. Never dreamt that I would be selling sake in my life.
Really?
I knew that I was going to work in travel all my life. But, with life, you just never know what tomorrow has in store. And we're always open to new challenges. It's a learning curve. Every day is a learning day, and I'm enjoying what we're doing currently. Lots of challenges, ups and downs. Learn about so many different things. But at the end of the day, I think it's an experience that sometimes you cannot even pay money to get that experience. So it is an experience out of this world. And as much as it comes with its hurdles, I think we are enjoying what is happening right now.
Yeah, it's probably the most important thing. If you enjoy doing what you're doing, you're lucky.
Exactly.
Because so many people don't.
Yes. One thing with travel is many times when you're working on the background, you don't see the client. You just do the phones and you do the emails and everything else. And the airport assistants, the tour guides, are the lucky ones who get to see those smiles and say goodbye to those guys who are shedding tears because of the lovely experience that they've had. But with the retail shop, you see someone coming in today, you see them coming in the next week again, and again the week after. It feels so nice to see someone coming over and over again and thanking you and smiling. I remember on the opening ceremony day, someone came in and they bought some curry and stuff like that, and I gave them my business card. You'd be surprised that they called me that evening, telling me thank you and telling me that they're having the curry that they bought today. How sweet! How refreshing can that be? It's something that might look very simple, but I think that's where happiness comes. You feel so fulfilled, even though you sold someone something that is worth £4, £5. They really appreciate what you sold them, and clearly they are going to fall in love with the country that you're hoping they would fall in love with. And I think that's all we're looking for here. That's all we're trying to do.
It's really fascinating.
Baby steps, but I'm sure we're headed towards the right direction.
Yeah, I'm sure. So in terms of consumers, what people come to the show? Because I understand, you opened only a few weeks ago, but you've got already some kind of feel who comes.
I would say, and I stand to be corrected, maybe 80% local, 20% Japanese.
Exactly.
Yes, 80% local, 20% Japanese would be a good feel of the client mix that we have. Of course, this can be attributed to several things. First of all, our target, of course, is mainly the local clients, and of course the Japanese corporate clients that we have as travel partners and business travel management clientele and all of that. We advertise on that also, but we mainly advertised or put quite a bit of resources in reaching out to the locals.
Yeah.
And the other thing is now we don't have many tourists in the country, but we do have quite a bit of locals that are moving around. So I guess that this will be a trend that will still continue for a while in future.
And probably last question, what you see as the major challenges for you, and what you see as the major opportunities for you in the UK?
Major opportunities, major challenges.
Yeah.
Good question. Major opportunities. Major opportunities, I would say that Japanese products, especially Japanese specialized products, still have a huge place in the UK and in the whole of Europe. Because it's a culture that is yet to be embraced fully. I would not say it's a blue ocean. It might end up being a blue ocean with time. I know, and I stand to be corrected, that in France, for example, we have soy sauce that is produced in France and actually sent to Japan. Yeah. I've seen that on a documentary in NHK the other day. But that's not the case here in the UK. When you go to France, I think, and I'm not quite sure about Italy, but with France, you will find so many different ramen shops in France and different Japanese cuisine shops in France. And that is not really the case here in the UK. So we are yet to appreciate the lovely Japanese cuisine that is there to offer. And as much as people consume this in the restaurants, they do not make this food in their houses. But it's very healthy food. Some are very, very simple to make. If you don't like salad, try and get some salad dressing from Japan and see how much you'll fall in love with that salad. So there's this kind of thing. We are positioning ourselves in a way that we are working with we are selling products that are not really, have not really penetrated into the market. And I'm sure if we continue doing this consistently, then there is a very high possibility of good success in future because it is not too late. It is not a saturated market. So that is an opportunity that I see. The other opportunity, of course, that I also see is the Japanese companies are very enthusiastic about going out into the world. And having this kind of like an antenna store is good positioning to actually assist different Japanese companies, which we have good relations with Japanese companies, being a very well-established travel organization in Japan, with now a corporate department that deals with import-export. Then I think we can collaborate very well with these different companies that are maybe middle-sized and do not have maybe the financial muscle or the human resources to actually send someone to the UK or send someone to Europe to have them do some test marketing or approach people. We can actually do that job for them. Given the fact that we are a travel business that has outlets all over Europe, we have 10 subsidiaries in the whole of Europe. So it's a one-stop shop. You talk to HIS and your product will be in France, your product will be in Italy, your product will be in the UK, it will be in Spain, it will be in Russia, it will be in so many different places. So that positioning also I think is very important to us, and this will also separate us from many of our competitors or better still collaborators as we go forward. So I think we are positioning ourselves in a way that we would be able to push the brand even further and be of assistance to many different companies and producers and suppliers from the Japan side. And in future, we will actually, I believe, be big time players in terms of wholesalers in the whole of Europe. But it's just taking baby steps. So that is the opportunity that we are looking at. As far as the challenges that we are looking at, it's not about COVID. The immediate challenge that we're looking at, we probably looked at the shelves a little bit. We realized that there are some products that are not on the shelves because it's very difficult to sometimes predict import And especially like now, I'm sure the logistics companies are making a kill right now because things are very expensive and getting space on containers, according to information that we have from our suppliers, is very difficult. Ourselves included, sometimes it's very difficult for us to use the ships when sending things. So we opt for using the planes, which makes it a little bit easier, but of course it becomes a little bit expensive. So there is that logistics bit of a challenge that we may have. And apart from that, what other challenges can I think of? I think your best competitor is yourself. So the main challenge here is how to push ourselves to get to a point where we actually offer our clients not just what they're satisfied with, but what we are also satisfied with. Because the Japanese omotenashi, if you know what I mean, the top-notch service that they offer in Japan is still not the top-notch service that is offered outside Japan. So we need to do that and maintain it. And I think we are headed towards that route. It will definitely be a challenge, especially when you're training staff and you want to standardize things. That can be a challenge, yes. But I think those are the two challenges that I can think of. If I gave myself another few minutes, I'm sure I'd come up with so many different challenges. We always need to continue looking for challenges, even from within, not be satisfied with status quo or be satisfied with the fact that now we have the shop open, things are running smoothly, we have people coming in and buying, and we have people who are satisfied. There's always something that you can do better. And as much as I cannot be able to articulate it properly right now, I am sure there are so many things that we can always do better to improve. And we will continue using the aspect or the concept of autonomous or improvement, as the Toyota guys say. The Kaizen all the time, and doing the why analysis, as the Toyotas say. Why did it happen this way? Because of this. Why did it happen this? And you have to get to the root of the problem and continue bettering our service as things go. So the challenges will still continue coming here. Today's challenges are not tomorrow's challenges. So it should not, it's not, I don't want to seem like I've exhausted all the challenges that we might have, because I'm sure we'll have so many others from tomorrow going forward. And as we speak, I've thought of another challenge, which goes without saying, but we just started the other day, and we need all the help we can get to actually penetrate the local market. As a travel agency, we have been working in the UK for quite some time, but we have concentrated so much on the Japanese clientele. So any Japanese that is in the UK or outside the UK, when you mention the brand name HIS, they will know who we are, and they will link it directly to travel. But if you asked a local individual who is HIS, they might ask you whether it's a company that sells men's shirts. But that was meant to be a joke. I hope I got there. I hope it got there. So HIS is not selling Japanese or men's shirts. HIS is a company that is trying to sell products that are top notch. So we still have a challenge in penetrating the local market, even though we put in a bit of resources in trying to do some marketing when we were starting, opening up the business. But this is not something that you can rely on forever. Of course, you will have some repeat clients, but our target is not just to have that small clique of friends or repeat clients who keep coming over and over again. We are trying to create a wave or be a trigger towards creating a wave of the love of Japanese products, the love of Japanese cuisine. And for that reason, we need to really work hard penetrating the market. We don't have a huge amount of resources to go on BBC and go on the buses and go on advertise all over. We do not have that, but we need to find ways of actually penetrating the market. So if you're friends with David Beckham, or you're friends with anyone out there who's very famous and maybe can come in and enjoy very genuine, lovely products and maybe post them out in social media, I'm sure that will be a shortcut towards where we're trying to head to. I'm half joking, of course, but you're someone who as the Japanese say, kao ga hiroi. You have very good links out there. I wouldn't be surprised if someone listens to your podcast and is interested in the jokes that John and Tsuji are actually saying, and then maybe it ends up being something. You just never know. So we enjoy our conversations. We continue joking like this, but in the next few years, maybe we look back and say, you know what, Alex? Thank you very much for that podcast. Thank you very much for that interview, because this actually opened doors to look at where we are right now. We have a store in Manchester. We even have a store in Cardiff, Alex, because of you, because you actually gave us opportunity to air what we had when we started with the small beginnings. We never want to despise the days of small beginnings, and we will continue being as vocal as possible, and hope for the best, and I'm sure we will get there. Together we will get there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. As it wasn't planned as a podcast interview, I didn't ask my guests to introduce their favorite sake. However, when I first visited HRS in October 2021, I bought a bottle of Shiramayumi Junmai Ginjo Hidahomare, exclusively imported for the store by Natsuki Kikuya, among a few other sake. Shiramayumi Hidahomare is brewed in Gifu Prefecture at Kabashuzo, which was founded in 1704, more than 300 years ago. Hidahomare is local sake rice grown in Gifu Prefecture, which makes sake refreshing and full-bodied at the same time. I've been to Gifu Prefecture before, and it's a beautiful area. And I actually happened to drink Kabashuzo sake there, together with tasty Hida beef, which was amazing. So Shiramayumi Junmai Ginjo got a silver award at London Sake Challenge in 2020, which is very well deserved. Made from Hidahomare rice, polished to 55%, the sake is aromatic with notes of apple, lollipop, melon, banana, and a bit of rice with a hint of acidity. Indeed, Shiramayumi has an acidity of 1.4, which is slightly higher than the usual 1.1, 1.2. The sake has a silky texture and tastes dry and acidic, despite its -2 sake meter value, probably because of the high acidity. It's a nice and very well balanced dryness. Shiramayumi Junmai Ginjo has a very light body and crisp and very pleasant finish. It's really enjoyable sake that you can drink on its own or with food. The high acidity makes it perfect for any kind of food like grilled fish, meat or chicken, vegetables or salads. It's a very versatile sake. That's it for today. I'll be back with more episodes and interviews. The next episode will continue our series about the evolution of sake brewing. In the meantime, if you live in London, pop into HIS Japan Premium and take a look at the sake and grocery range and buy a bottle of Shiramayumi Junmai Ginjo Hidahomare. If you live too far from Shaftesbury Avenue, where the shop is located, then you can always order some other sake from the London Sake website, where you can get a 10% discount by entering Sugidama, all in caps, at the checkout. If you have any questions or suggestions about any sake topic, just drop me a line. My email address is alex@sugidama.co.uk, or you can tag me on Instagram or Twitter @sugidamablog in one word. Again, if you like the episode and want more, hit the subscribe button, and you will get every new episode downloaded to your player as soon as it's out. If you would like to give me a bit of support, please leave a review or rate Sugidama Podcast. There are two places you can easily leave a review. On Apple Podcasts, if you use iPhone, iPad or Mac, you have to go to the Sugidama Podcast page there, scroll down to the bottom where you can see reviews. There will be a link to add your own review. Another option is the Podchaser website, where you can leave a review of any podcast regardless of what platform you use to listen to it. I've got a link to my page there in the show notes. You need to register at Podchaser, but it's easy because you can use your Twitter or Facebook credentials and then leave a review. Spotify now allows you to rate the podcast you listen to. So if you use this platform, rate Sugidama Podcast there. Of course, you can share this podcast with your friends, on your social media, chat app, anywhere. A lot of people mention a friend's recommendation as a reason for listening to a particular podcast. So you can be that friend and support Sugidama Podcast. Again, please come to NOMIKAI at HIS Japan Premium Store in London on March 31st. The link is in the show notes. If you do, please mention that you listen to my podcast. I'm always excited to meet my listeners and to have a little chat. Thanks a lot for listening. Kampai.
Suge, 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 Sugidama blog. Suge, 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 Sugidama blog.